Happy New Year! Welcome to the SamDrinksBeer Beer of the Year Awards. So, we are at the end of 2021, or will be the start of 2022 when you're watching this, as I'm only recording this on New Year's Eve. And yeah, it's probably been a good year in terms of sort of some of the beers that have come out in this country. So I thought I'd do a little awards show thing. Obviously, this isn't gospel for what the beers of the year are or anything. Well, yeah, a guy with 53 subscribers on YouTube's hardly gonna be that, is it? But I just thought I'd look at some of the highlights in terms of beers, not just ones I've reviewed on the channel. There will be ones which did feature on the channel. But yeah, so I'm going to just crack open a beer I did review on the channel. This is the Untappd Salted Caramel Chocolate Donut. If you remember, I reviewed it, I think back in the summer now. Just crack open. This was one of my favourite sort of non-imperial stouts I had this year, actually. A 7% beer. This is out of date, so God knows how this is going to be, but it looks okay. Smells okay. So I thought I'd just enjoy this while doing this. Oh, still tasting good. Even though it expired in August. Which I think is when I did the review of it. I think it was nearly out of date then. So anyway, I'm limiting this mostly to UK beers and breweries. Apart from one award which I'm going to do, which will be obvious when I read out all the categories. So these are the categories I've decided to split it into after much deliberation. We've got pale ale, so we're talking any pale beer that doesn't qualify as an IPA. IPA, Imperial Ipa, so that's Dipper, Tipper, Quipper, basically your strong IPAs. Stout / porter, which is any stout or porter below 8%. I just missed one off, sorry. Lager, which is self-explanatory, any lager style. Imperial stout or porter, which is, well, any stout or porter over 8%. I've done it for. Barley wine, I nearly put the barley wine in the misc category, but I decided there's been enough good ones, I think, for it to have its own category. Sours, basically any sour style beer goes as sours. Flanders Reds, the styles. Yes, traditional English style beers. This is excluding cask, this category, because I've got a separate category for cask ales. So that's basically any your bitters, your milds, your golden ales, your rubies, your blondes. And then miscellaneous, which is any Belgian style beers, mixed firm, fruit beers, wheat beers. Anything that doesn't really, I probably haven't had enough of to sort of have its own category. Cask ale, which is any beer I've had on cask this year. Non-UK beer of the year. So this does open it up to everything I've had from outside the UK. So any Germany, the US, Belgium, Estonia, God knows wherever else. Brewery of the year. It's pretty self-explanatory. Again, UK only. And at the end, I'll maybe just have a look. This isn't an award. This is more of just a discussion, I guess. A ones to watch for 2022. So we're already nearly 5 minutes into this recording, and we haven't even done an award yet. So let's start with pale ale. So yeah, I've had some really good pale ales this year. You might remember some of them have been reviewed on the channel. Rivington's Never Known Fog Like It was an absolute banger. Had a nice one from Neon Raptor earlier in the year, released the Pillars, the Northern Monk Daily Mash, again, another one I had earlier in the year. You know, then you got your staples such as Steady Rolling Man, Disco King, stuff like that. Squiggle by Siren. Now, I know this one was in Asda, and the one in Asda, the version in Asda wasn't very good, but the version I had direct from Siren as part of their Grateful Eight was fantastic, so that's in there. But I'm going to give this to probably the only pale ale I actually gave a 5 to this year, and it was reviewed on the channel, and it goes to Cloudwater's Clouds Over Cross Street. Beer I did review on the channel around, probably around September time, I think it was. But an absolutely fantastic pale ale, single hop with Sabra, was absolutely beautiful, tasted well beyond its ABV, so yeah. That gets the Pale Ale Award. So, IPA. Now, there's been a lot of big IPAs this year. Yeah, obviously, most recently, you've got the Northern Monk Patrons Project Infinity Vortex 2021, which was an absolute banger. Reviewed that on the channel. Absolute stunner. Had other brilliant stuff such as Atom's Law of Motion, brilliant IPA. Wild Horse and Cloudwater's West Coast IPA, Magic Hour, 20 Watt Boom by Verdant, incredible. Zephyr by Soul, that was an unexpected one for me. I had that on draft at the hop, it was absolutely brilliant. Secret Tape by Unity, brilliant. Pierre Down is New Up by Track. Vision Quest by Turning Point, again, another one I had on draft, that was. I Have Become the Boat by Cloudwater, brilliant. Neil Gets Things Done by Verdant. Just Bought a Cadillac by Rivi. This one was a tough one. This was almost a draw. This could have easily gone to the Northern Monks Infinity Vortex, but it just got picked. Because the best IPA I had this year was from Verdant. Surprise, surprise. And it was Enjoy the Uncertainty. That one was reviewed on the channel as well, I think. Sort of in about September time. I had a lot of good beers around then, so... There might be a few win awards from that time of year. So, Imperial IPA. Like I said, basically anything above 8% is an IPA, really. Dippers, tippers, quippers, or quintippers now are a thing, aren't they? Thanks to Northern Monk. So, yeah, some brilliant ones. Right at the start of the year, I had Brew York's Raquel Welch. I think I actually had that on New Year's Day last year. God, almost a year ago today. That was fantastic. Probably the best pale beer Brew York had done, in my opinion. Got to mention Fruit Cast Eye Expedition by Verdant. An absolute Citra bomb. Incredible. Crystallography by Cloudwater. A West Coast dipper. So good. Had that twice, actually. Had that on draft at their tap room as well. Just as good. Divine Faith by Northern Monk, incredible. High Definition by Siren, a tipper, West Coast tipper, absolutely incredible. Rock Leopard, How Are You Now? Brilliant beer. The Fresh series from Northern Monk has put out some brilliant ones, particularly the Quipper 002 was my favourite. Incredible. Unconventional Tactics by Verdant. Daya Momentary Bliss. I actually thought that was probably the only Daya beer for me that's actually up for an award, which is surprising because they do a lot of good stuff, but I think the year before they were probably better. Overtone, I've had some bangers as well. Heavy Pop in particular. Oof, what a beer that was. And let me tell you, that was right in the running to win it. Didn't quite though, there is a better one. Polly's Floating Through the Surface, brilliant dipper. Alan by Verdant, that was reviewed on the channel. Waiting for Liftoff of Mantor, an absolute Citra one from Cloudwater. Incredible. Double Dreams by Pipeline, that was a brilliant beer. Again, another one that was in the running. Of course, that was reviewed on the channel. Trax Gold Top Saving Grace, which is the green one, I think. You know, I haven't got pictures, just got my notes here I've made. Brilliant. But the winner it goes to Cloudwater again. They get their second award, and it's for their Insert Hip Hop reference there, a collaboration with US breweries Monkish and Who were the other one? I forgot who the other one was. I want to say Treehouse, but I don't think it was Treehouse. A hype American brewery. Trillium, I think it was Trillium. I'll edit it if it's wrong. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Trillium. But that was an absolute banger. Done to a recipe of a US beer, beer from the States. We all know how good the IPAs are over there. And it was perfection, really. You know, I think probably best British brew dipper. Or was it Dipper, I think it was, sorry. I've ever had. Absolutely incredible. Incredible beer. It's a lager. So there's been a little bit of a boom, I think, in craft lager this year. I've certainly had some good ones. Obviously, you can always look at sort of the likes of Don Zerko, what they're doing. Had Neon Exile by Turning Point. Had that, was reviewed on the channel on a little mini keg, if you remember. That was good. Left-Handed Giants Brew Pub West Coast Pills. That was fantastic. Lost and Grounded Hellers, brilliant beer. You know, well, that one's available in Waitrose as well. Their Sunshine State of Mind, which was part of the season's beers for Johnny Garrett's book. That was fantastic. North Springwell Pills, brilliant. But it's going to go to a Don Zerko beer. Now, this is a core beer for them, which probably makes it a little bit of a controversial inclusion as a winner, but it was the best UK brewed lager I had this year, and it's Big Foam. Absolutely brilliant. Blew me away when I had it. How good a lager could taste. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, stouts and porters. So, yeah, any stout or porter below 8%. Obviously, this is in the running. Absolutely brilliant beer. Does it win? Well, we'll find out shortly. Always got to include Siren's Broken Dream in this category. Again, it's a sort of a staple, and I had it before this year, but brilliant. Same with Tom Coco by Brew York. Had it before this year, but it's always a good staple. Obviously, I had the Hardcore Broken Dream for the first time this year by Siren, and also the Imperial Tom Coco, which, despite its name, is 7.5%, so it just sneaks into this category. So that was brilliant. Could look at, as well, sticking with Brew York, you could look at their Imp My Ride, that was very good. The Unbarred Solid Caramel, obviously I mentioned, brilliant beer. I had a beer called Corvus from Squawk on draft, which was fantastic. A real surprise one for me, which I had low expectations for, was Sling It Out Stout by 7 brothers even. However many brothers. Obviously, Turning Point's Lucid Dream I had was brilliant. Neon Raptors Clusters, reviewed on the channel, you might remember. Nitro Caribbean Chocolate Cake by Siren, incredible. I'm going to give it 2. Brewery are probably not really associated with their dark beers. And it might be a bit of a surprise, but I had this on draft in Halifax at the Victorian Craft Beer Cafe. And it was 10 quid a pint, so it was very pricey. And it's only like 5.2% as well, or something like that. It's not strong, and it was very pricey, but God, it was worth the money. And I'm going to give it to Yonder and their Ritual Union, a coffee stout, which was absolutely brilliant. It had so much body for its ABV, and it just blew me away, if I'm honest. So that's going to get my Stout/Porter award. So, Imperial Stout or Imperial Porter. Now, this was the toughest one of the lot. I could have given this award to any of the beers I'm about to mention now, probably. Probably got the style that has probably got the most 5s from me on Untappd are Imperial Stouts. Turning Point's Barrel Aged Ecstasy of Gold. Best thing they produced all year. Brilliant beer, and so close to winning. Any of Brew York's Barrel Age, State of Mind releases, again, any of them could have won, particularly John Biscoy. Barrel Age John Biscoy. In fact, even the bit normal John Biscoy could have won because it's fantastic. In fact, you could stick with Brew York and look at the likes of Final Chapter by them as well. A collaboration with The Emperor's Brewery. Sorry, mine keeps going blank. These notes I've written are very incomprehensible. Extra brownie pints as well, brilliant beer. Pressure Drop Slumber, incredible. In fact, a review will be coming for another Pressure Drop Imperial Stout, which was very good, and lucky not to possibly be spoken about here. Atom's Neutron Star Centaur Army, and I haven't actually had the latest brew of Centaur Army, but I had the previous one, which came out earlier in the year, and that was fantastic. It was lower ABV as well. One of my earlier reviews on this channel as well. Get on the Floor as well, by which is one of Neon Raptor's birthday beers. Incredible. A coffee Imperial Stout, fantastic. I mean, Neon Raptor don't just do brilliant Imperial Stouts, they do brilliant beer, let's be honest. Siren's Bone of a Sailor, probably one of the few, the only porter I've even put on this list. An Imperial Porter, incredible. Got to talk about my continuous improvement, and a late contender to the party, the Black Forest, my continuous improvement, which I reviewed yesterday. May or may not come out before this, so spoiler alert. Tartarus is a bad one. Again, one I drank yesterday and was a late contender. Brilliant beer. Brilliant beer. Vocations Double Snowball, incredible. Their Imperial Banana as well. And Kirsch has always got to be in the conversation, even though I'd had it the previous year. I'm gutted it's no longer in Tesco's. But Unity with their Barrel Aged Imperial Stout for years. Pomona and Northern Monk with their Cancion Mixteca. A Churro Imperial Stout, incredible. Northern Monk Shaun of the Death. That was reviewed on the channel, you might remember. As was their Wasted Christmas, another late-ish contender, my Christmas Day beer review. Left-Handed Giant, We Are Floating in Space. Brilliant beer. Death by Caribbean Chocolate Cake, another fairly late contender I had at the end of November. Outstanding. But there's only one. The beer that got it probably was. There was a lot of beers that were very unlucky not to win this. It was almost flipping a coin, but I've given it in the end to Defeat the Rancor by Neon Raptor, which I obviously reviewed on the channel because it was just outstanding, if I'm honest. Probably one of the best Imperial Stouts, and in fact it wasn't barrel aged or anything either. It was just straight up, well, not straight up, it had adjuncts in it obviously, but you know, it was just so well brewed, brilliantly made. And Neon Raptor have had a bloody good year, but we'll have to wait and see if they win brewery of the year. Barley Wine. There was only one winner for this category. In fact, I'm going to tell you who the brewery who won this award is, and you can probably guess who it is. It's the king of the barley wine, it's Siren. But there was two from them that could have won it, but one had to get it. You know, they obviously also had the Light in the Dark and Scattered Light, but Refashioned was the beer, nearly won it, gave it to Refashioned, but it had to go to Maiden 2020 by Siren. Now, I said the Barley Wine Award might as well be called the Siren Award because they do the best barley wines in the country, Siren. Maiden 2020, they've absolutely had it for their, what was it called? The Grateful Eight festival in April. And then I loved it so much I went and bought a second bottle. In fact, I'd argue that is, if I was to do an overall beer of the year, that would be in contention. But I've not done an overall beer of the year, I'm doing it by categories. Sours. Early on in the year, I had staggeringly good Sauropod with mango, raspberry and vanilla. That was so thick. That was a Goza, Lassie Goza. Like, bloody hell. I think that was the first sort of thick, smoothie style sour I ever had. Vocation did a sour IPA called the Rosoya, which was absolutely brilliant. Northern Monk's Secret Agent Beauregard as part of their Patron Society exclusive beers, which was a blueberry stout. You know, obviously Beauregard, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and all that. But also that Gary's Fizzy Army with the Mash Gang has to be in there. 2.4%. 2.4%. It was ridiculous for that at that ABV. Absolutely ridiculous. Vaults here are always going to have to be in the conversation when it comes to sours. They're strawberry stars, they're raspberry white chocolate honeycomb, they're guava banana, banoffee, toffee smoothie. God, that's a mouthful, that one. Which was a late contender, one I had this week. S43's Crimble Cumble might be reviewed early on, you know, the Friday night dinner theme beer. Yonder, Mrs. Patterson, another one which was reviewed on the channel. Raspberry Gozer's a brilliant beer as well. Cherry Berry Magic, which I've reviewed a lot of sours on this channel. Cherry Berry Magic was obviously reviewed on the channel as well, as was Vampire Disco by Neon Raptor. Little Earth Project's Blackcurrant and Rice Sour was fantastic. Another late contender was Holy Goat's Blood Incantation, and probably the only real sort of traditional style sour that makes this list. It was a Flanders Red sour ale, which was bloody good. It was fruited, but it was, yeah, bloody fantastic. One to sip and savour. But the winner is going to go to Brew York for my local brewery, and it's going to go to their Kirsch Russell. A cherry sour they did. The best sour they've ever brewed. And they do some good sours, actually. But it was just, yeah, it was brilliant. It was cherry pie in a can. It was absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I couldn't give it to anything else. That was the best sour I've had this year. And they're bringing it back again next year. Yes, cannot wait. So, trad English style excluding cask. So, this is any trad style I've had. Trad English style I've had from bottle or can. You know, I've included anything that's done by modern breweries. I'm not just done traditional breweries here. But so anyone could win this. I had Maris the Otter by Brew York, a good modern take on a traditional bitter. And Howl by Firebrand. Did I review that on the channel? I want to say I did, but I can't remember. I've done so many now. Free Flow by Vocation and Amity, a extra special bitter. Memento by Siren, that one was definitely reviewed on the channel. Elusive's Golden Green. Marble's Manchester Bitter. Ennerdale's Blonde, but I've given it to probably the best bitter I've ever had, if you see what I did there. Certainly the best bitter I've had out of a bottle, and it's Bluebird Bitter by Coniston Brewing Company. And I had that when I was on holiday in the Lake District back in June. And yeah, it was an outstanding bitter. Really enjoyed that. You get some great sort of traditional ales around that part of the world. A bit shit for their craft, but if you want a good traditional ale, there's actually some really good ones around Cumbria. So anyway, Misk Galanius. So any style doesn't really fit into a category. So I've sort of got sort of weird and wonderful mixed firm beers like Yonder's Serpents, which I didn't really class as a sour, as it wasn't really a sour. It was more like it was quite cidery, vinegary, sort of one of them, sort of almost a mixed firm beer, I guess. A wild ale, I'd call them. Cloudwater's Hop and Vice was very good. Blue Goo Wrecker by the only Wrecker I've had so far. I've got their Bongo one in the fridge. I've just not got round to it for whatever reason. But Blue Goo Wrecker by Blue Wrecker rather from Staggeringly Good was an experience. Queer Brewing Co.'s Flowers, a lovely wheat beer. Turning Point Yellow Matter Custard. Again, a good wheat beer, an interesting take on it. But I've given this to a relatively up-and-coming brewery. And it's actually their take on a Belgian style, on a Belgian quadruple, and it's Tartarus with their Clud or Kludde, however that's pronounced. Which was, yeah, an absolutely stunning beer, and definitely the best attempt I've had of a Belgian ale from a British brewery. It was almost on par, I'd say. Brilliant beer. So, cask ale. So, what beers I've had on cask? You've got Brew York's Tom Coco and Big Eagle, incredible beers on cask. 2x2's Australian IPA, brilliant. Turning Point's Lucid Dream, a brilliant cask stout. Lovely beer. Half Moon's Dark Masquerade, a lovely mild I had. Brass Castle, you always got to include Bad Kitty in the mix. They're a great cask brewery, Brass Castle. Bad Kitty's brilliant. Misfit as well, by them, which was a lovely pale ale I had. Turning Point's Blair Resignation Jam, not your usual style you get on cask. A sour. I think it was a raspberry and mint sour. Obviously, I reviewed the can on here, but I had about a month later, I had on cask, and it was incredible. Stuck in a Metaphor by Turning Point as well. Super, super lovely West Coast IPA. And then another one by Turning Point. Turning Point have actually produced some really good cask ale, actually. They're known for their modern craft, but get Outspace, which is one of the most sessionable pales I've ever had. Shaiper's always got to be in the argument. Just there's very few better experiences on cask for the Shaiper. Kirkstall's Ardennes, a Belgian blonde style beer, which I had on cask, which was a nice surprise, actually. Unexpected. Vocation's Naughty and Nice. Lovely beer. Their Heart and Soul's lovely on cask as well. Wensleydale's Beacon was lovely. Fine Ales Avalanche. Beautiful beer. Ilkley Blonde always has to be in the conversation. Lovely beer, but I'm going to give this something a bit special. Again, another one I reviewed on the channel, and the only cask ale that's been reviewed on the channel. In fact, the only review that's been outside my home on the channel so far, and it's the Brass Castle 2-year aged Wallop, which I had all the way back in summer. It's a very exclusive beer. I think it has like 3 check-ins on Untappd, but so you can relate to this, can't you? But yeah, that gets my cask ale of the year. I'd give it a runner-up, maybe, just to, maybe a beer that everyone might have had. Then I'd probably give it to Jaipur, if I'm honest, because it's just always brilliant on cask. Non-UK beer of the year. This was a tough one. There was a lot of contenders for this one. This was probably the second toughest one after Imperial Stout to do, because you're thinking the breweries involved. Anything from the US, you got Omnipolo and Co. from Scandinavia. You got the likes of Maltgard and Funky Fluid from Poland getting in there. You've got all the Belgian ales, all the German Hellers and other lagers and whatnot. You got like Augustina Hellers from Germany, brilliant. Bourbon County always has to be in the argument. Absolute. That was the tough one. Bourbon County could have easily got this, but I had to give it to a beer that sort of changed it for me, really, in the sense for the style. It showed me how good IPAs could be, New England IPAs, and I've given it to Cream on the inside, Green on the outside by Other Half from the States. I was lucky enough to get a few Other Half beers earlier in the year, around June time, and they absolutely blew me away. But that one in particular is the best pale beer I've ever had. Absolutely outstanding, and it was like 2 or 3 months old after canning as well, so God knows how good it would have been. Super fresh. Now, brewery of the year. Now, there's a lot of breweries have had some really good years this year. I think Neon Raptor have got to be in the argument, and I think any of the breweries I say now there's an argument for argument to give them this award. Neon Raptor, Verdant, brilliant year. Brew York probably had their best year. If you look at the goods, just what they're capable of at the top end, Northern Monk, I know if you averaged it out, then there's a lot of dross. But if you look at the top best stuff they've done, then they have to be in with a shout. Siren have had a very good year, released some absolute bangers. Overtone, I've always got to be in the argument. Some of the best beers I've had this year have been from Overtone. I say that after not giving them a single award. Yonder have had a very good year, but the one I'm going to give it to is probably going to be a little bit controversial in some people's eyes. They caused a bit of a stir around April time, I think it was, when they decided they were going to can their core range and release a subpar version brewed by Brewdog in the supermarket. But I'm not judging them on that. I'm judging them on the quality of the beers I've had from them, the consistency of the beers I've had from them. And their stuff that isn't available in Tesco's is as good as anyone in the country. You know, they've won more awards today than any other brewery. They've both got the Pale Ale Award and the Imperial IPA. It's going to have to go to Cloudwater. I think they've been absolutely released some of the best beers in the country this year, regardless of what your views are on Paul Jones, you know, and they're moving to supermarkets and whatever. The beers they produce have been top notch, and there's no doubt about that. The ones they brewed, not the ones Brewdog brewed, they were pretty average, but I'm judging them on the stuff they brewed. Ones to watch in 2022, I think you've got to look at Pipeline. They seem to be a brewery I only discovered recently, and they seem to be making some really, really good stuff. Same with Tartarus, Holy Goat, again, very much in the up-and-coming stage. You know, Glasshouse, yeah, and then there's this Azvex as well that everyone seems to be raving about, but they sent everyone free beer apart from me, so I'm not at all bitter. I will never be buying any of their beers. I'm obviously joking. I will definitely check them out because they seem to be getting rave reviews. Sort of maybe slightly more established breweries. Well, a lot more established breweries who are perhaps, I think, are on maybe the cusp of sort of, you know, being one of the most hyped breweries in the country. You got to look at like Rivington, you know, I think Beak, Overtone, Turning Point, you know, they're all, you know, I think particularly, maybe not so much Beak and Turning Point, but Rivington and Overtone are very much, you know, they're very much hot on, you know, I always think there's a bit of a big four when it comes to the craft breweries. I think that there's four big hype breweries in this country. I think that's probably Cloudwater, Verdant, Daya and Neon Raptor. And I think if Overtone aren't already on that pedestal, I think they're very much breathing down the necks of them four. And I think the same with Rivington. I think them two are going to just continue to go from strength to strength. And then like Turning Point, I think, you know, a lot of people overlook them. They're quite small, maybe relatively new compared to some. So yeah, they'd be the ones to watch for me this year. So just to wrap up really before my camera cuts out again. Yeah, so the winners, Clouds Over Cross Street for the Pale Ale by Cloudwater, Enjoyed Uncertainty by Verdant for the IPA, Insert Hip Hop reference there for the Imperial IPA by Cloudwater again, Big Foam for the Lager, Yonder Ritual Union for the Stout Porter, Defeat the Rancor for Imperial Stout Porter, Maiden 2020 for the Barley Wine, Kirsch Russell by Brew York for the Sours, Bluebird Bitter by Coniston for the Trad English style, Miscellaneous Tartarus Clued Quad, Cask Ale, Brass Castle 2-year aged Wallop, Cream on the inside, green on the outside by Over Half for the non-UK Brew of the Year, Cloudwater, and yeah, we've just been through the ones to watch. So yeah, thank you for watching. These have been the SamDrinksBeer Beer Awards. Maybe I'll do it again next year, I don't know. Thank you for sitting through this, and if you haven't turned off already, drop us a like. If you haven't already, subscribe. Click the bell icon to get alerted when all my videos go up. And yeah, Happy New Year, and hopefully I look forward to reading your comments and stuff in the new year, and thank you for your continued support. So yeah, cheers.